I'm gonna, just move the screen around and it's gonna be good. So can we start?
Yeah, we can start. So we have 10 minutes for your presentation and maybe do 10 minutes for questions or so,
Okay.
comments on your project. And then we'll turn to the topic of the day, which is these pretty far out science projects. And the question is whether you still consider it science or not. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts and how also I asked you particularly today to reflect on how it connects to your own interests, right? And what your questions are for your life and for your masters. Yeah? Shall we close the window maybe? Is it okay? Great, thank you.
So as you already know, I was working with Pan about geology. So last week she already made a presentation about a guy named Todd Ehlers. So that's basically the guy you introduced us to. He's like the big boss of the geology field in Tuebingen. But I won't talk about him that much since Pan already introduced him. Instead, I will talk about another interview that I had, which was with Reza Mohammed, who is like PhD student who is working specifically about Antarctica. And so this guy, before I talked about him, I quickly talk about my simple method to approach these guys. Basically, I'm not the kind of person that likes to, write questions down on a sheet of paper. I prefer just to quickly take a look on the website of the university to see what this job is about, and then that gives me one opening to talk with him, and then once to make him know that I'm not here with my hands in my pocket. So I at least I knew what he was doing, and so I would start to talk about this, and then I would just with what I know, my curiosity, etc. I will continue the interview, and I will basically introduce me as a guy who is doing this for homework, but also to take this opportunity to discover something new, because I was genuinely interested. Okay, I think I'm done. Maybe just to speak again about this Aircheck project, I think that it was just good, also interesting to mention that, because since the topic of today was anthropology, about anthropobiology, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it was like consider more the non-human beings, like animal, plants, etc. In the field of anthropology. Mm-hmm. I was just making the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Do you want to show us the pictures then?
Yeah, why not? There are not that much pictures, but just for the robots.
Mm-hmm.
It looks simple and cool at the same time. Like an iPhone. Basically. So this is the robot. It looks quite simple. They are supposed to put wheels, on it, so it can, roll on the ice. This is the command. So it looks like a video game, so this is one of the coolest geek thing I ever seen in a while. And so this is inside the robot, so here basically is the brain.
For me, like, maybe that's how I'm going to proceed as well, is that I try to, with the interviews that I did, I try to kind of find a common sense and try to apply literature that we discussed without even having like a back thought, you know what I mean? And that is, I don't know if that is maybe a way to do it, but at the same time I wish I had this perspective that I could go into an interview and say, I want to ask these questions and I want to have maybe these answers, who knows, but it could be different, to get this and this result at the end. But I think small project, it's almost for me it was very difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was for you.
I think it was very, or it is very broad to research a whole research area in only one course like this. But I think also the challenge was not to do or at least as I perceived it, was not to make a research with a real research with a big conclusion at the end. For me, it was more like getting to know how I can research on science and getting to know how it feels to research on science and getting to know different steps and like a first step into the research of science.
But at the end, it's still about the faculty. Like it's still about, it's not about. That's how I felt. It's not about your own perspective or what you kind of research, but it's about the faculty that you, worked on somehow.
The faculty, you mean the
Like
people?
the people,
professor or the student?
Exactly,
or?
The topic of anthropology or geology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something, or do you share the experience of?
I said during the before I got different. We got same interview, but we got different aspects of that. And before the interview, I had some question clear in my mind about the HR things in that faculty and how he became a professor, became a star there. But during the interview, I found he is going into a different road, and I was trying to just get him back, but it's hard. So I think the problem is that we have to get a conclusion in the middle way, not on his side or not in our imagination. I think it's always in the middle. It's always like you can't find something, but just something in the way.
And I think also in researches in general, it's happens often that you kind of lose your red line, or like the red line develops differently than you thought. Because we learned also in theory that a research question very often develops during field work. Because like this, people tell you something and you're not the people you are asking, so they will tell you something else that you are thinking about. And then maybe things are happening in the field work and during research. So I think it's also about learning to be flexible and catching the points you get, how you get them.
Yeah, sorry, do you want to?
No.
So I think this is a very useful discussion because it's about the nature of anthropological research, which is different, I think, in some ways. You will have seen from what Mohamed Reza is doing, for example, or not, So we were hearing about mathematicians who have to make decisions about which way to go, and there is no roadmap ahead, So exactly, they have some vague forms, like they can see maybe mountains, ocean, but exactly what the terrain in between looks like, they also don't know, and it's the same for you.